I encourage you to take some time and look at these options that you have here to build your empire the way you want it to be built. But what we're going to be doing today is playing as an imperialist, militarist, authoritarian, materialist empire because I find those to be the easiest empires to build. So uh, let's get to it. Just gives you enough strength and control over your empire that for your first playthrough, to get your feet wet, you don't have to worry too much about riots and stuff like that. So we're going to build that. And if you go Imperial, you never really have to worry about elections and stuff like that. It can be fun to play as democratic or oligarchic and do all the election stuff, but for your first roll through, let's just go Imperial, make things really easy on ourselves. These options, there's a lot of options here for what a game can look like. This is the loadout I usually play with. Um, you can take some time to look at all of these options, but some big ones that I'll just point out are AI empires. This is a good one just to keep in mind, just so when you're exploring the galaxy, you have a good idea of maybe how many total empires there might be. I strongly dislike advanced AI starts because you might start the game with one planet and one ship, and the guy who spawned right next to you is already like 300 years into his empire. That's kind of lame. Fallen empires like to have these guys around, they spice it up. I usually throw one or two in there. Marauder empires can be fun too. And I usually do the 0 to 1 just because it's nice to have it up in the air, whether or not there's one there until you find out. Iron Man mode is what will give you achievements on Steam if you turn it on. Then you'll be able to save the game, but you won't be able to load anything other than your most recent save. And that's how you're going to get achievements on Steam. You'll notice the game starts paused, so don't feel like you're in a rush to do anything right off the hop. Let's go in and figure out what we want to start doing. Um, I'm going to grab the extra energy credits because I know energy can get a little dicey in early points in the game, especially considering we're starting with some robots. This one here, Off-World Trading Company, that's going to increase the trade value of things that are connected to the starbase where it's built. So that's a pretty good one. Let's grab that. And for the engineering, let me take a look at what we got here. These aren't all amazing, but I'm going to grab the Corvette hull points, just because usually the bulk of your Navy ends up being a Corvette, and a little bit of HP never hurt anybody. Next up, now that we have our research sorted out, we got to look at what's not built so far in our main solar system. We already noticed we got a good energy chunk from the sun. That's awesome. We're getting some good energy from this gas giant over here too, and some minerals. We also got some minerals over here and some energy over here that we haven't got a harvester built up on yet. So let's grab the construction ship. We look up here, we got 14 surplus on minerals, but no surplus on energy. So if we build this one first, it's going to cost 1 energy to upkeep. It'll be a negative. So let's go build a mining station over here and unpause it. While that's going over there to build, we can get our scientists started scoping out the neighborhood. So you right click. Sorry, I really should talk about the controls here. In order to pop in and out of the solar system view, the hotkey's E. E is in Edward. So if you select your science ship over here and hit E, and then go over to a star and right click it, and then click survey system, he's going to start flying off in that direction. He'll go over there and scan all the planets and stars and stuff. If you press 1 on the keyboard, it'll bring up your homeworld. Now, let's take a look at the homeworld interface, because this just got a huge overhaul, and I don't really fully understand how it works. We're at a plus 10 now on energy somehow, and I'm really not entirely certain how that happened, but, you know, gift horse. So we have 27 pops on our world. Every 5 pops, we're going to get to build a new building. Pops is just population. So if you check this slot, you can see the things that are available to us. Each of these help us basically just build a different resource or get extra research. Some resources require other resources to build them, so let's go through the resources at the top. These are energy credits, your main currency of the game, and also ships and robots use electricity for upkeep. These are minerals. Minerals are used to build a bunch of basic items, like these mining platforms or some of these buildings. Food is exactly what you think it is. And consumer goods are things used by jobs on planets and populations on planets. These are built by, if you go to your planet, you'll see civilian industries here. Upkeep for energy. It creates 2 jobs, which is good because you don't want your pops to be unemployed. It creates 2 jobs, and it turns minerals into consumer goods. That's how you get consumer goods, is by getting minerals, throwing them into a factory, and having Joe Line dude turn it into a consumer good. These are alloys. Alloys are also refined minerals. If you go back to the planet, you can see we've got the alloy foundries. It turns minerals into alloys. You can use alloys to build things like ships or other star bases. Oh, interesting. We've discovered a primitive alien race. That's really cool. Usually doesn't happen quite so quickly. Let's put this to the side for a minute and finish up looking at these resources. This resource is influence. You need influence to do things like build new star bases and conquer new systems. It also is necessary for building some of the giant megastructures towards the end of the game. I guess you gotta, I don't know, convince everybody to help build it or something. This is Unity. Unity is kind of like, how can I explain this? It's like everybody in the Empire is working together towards the same goal. We're changing our civilization for the better by working together. So, how do we spend Unity? Oh, that's a great question. If we go over here to traditions, you pop this open, you'll see the cost for these increases over time. These are traditions kind of like in Civilization. You pick these and they give your empire bonuses based on what you're unlocking. The Discovery one, just for adopting the Discovery tree, you research anomalies 20% faster, things like that. So this is actually a really important kind of thing to get, because these buffs are really strong. You want to be trying to get as many Unity buildings out there as you consider reasonable. Alright, let's talk about this civilization. What are we going to do about this? We got some dudes right on our border here. They're a Bronze Age civilization, so if we click the planet, we can go down and check out what they got. They don't have a whole heck of a lot. I mean, they are just in the Bronze Age, right? They got some primitive dwellings, and looks like they built some pyramids. That's kind of cool. So what options do we have? Well, there's a population of 8 here. We've got a couple options. You can set up a observation post around them and research them to get research points for society research, I think. You can also try to uplift them into a spacefaring civilization, depending on what their current level is, and this one's a Bronze Age civilization, and that can take a long time. Since we are we're a race of authoritarian lizards, we have the ability to go to war with anyone, no questions asked, because we're the Emperor, and it's good to be king. So, what do we want to do? I think we should probably conquer them. But if we conquer them now, we won't get control of their planet. We probably want to build a starbase here. Claim it as our own. How do you build a starbase? Well, right now we actually can't, because you can't build a starbase anywhere that you haven't surveyed the whole system. Once this guy's done, we'll return here. Take it for ourselves, then we're going to conquer these guys and bring them into the glorious Lizard Empire. As you can see here, I've built the space station and I didn't capture it. So what you want to do is from the galaxy screen, just select your construction ship, right click the star once it's been fully surveyed, and click build spaceport or space station or whatever it is it says. Alright, our boys are arriving on site. We're going to get them to come over here and just enter orbit right now. If you take a navy ship rather, like the corvettes, destroyers, cruisers, and put them in orbit above a planet, they'll begin orbital bombardment. Just going to give you a quick warning, just letting you know, these guys aren't hostile to you yet. But if you do this, they will be. We don't need to bombard them. We can if we want to kill them, but we don't want to kill them. We want them to be part of our empire. So, right click the planet, land Thanks. Right click the planet, land armies. Yes, we're going to conquer them.
Planetary invasion commenced.
I like our odds. We are a FTL super empire, and they're a bunch of Bronze Age dudes with spears and shit.
Ground invasion force has seized a planet.
So we've successfully seized the world. Quick question though, why would we actually want to do that? Why would we want to take their world? What could we possibly gain by conquering some Bronze World civilization and stealing their planet from them? Does it actually help us at all? Well, they're Bronze Age, so it's not like they're going to help us with any fancy research or anything. I mean, let's be real. You can take a look at these guys. Somehow. There's a way to go into the species view. Take a look at these guys and see what they actually are. So they're very strong. We didn't know that any of this before. They're very strong, so they have good army damage and worker output. Now we can send these guys to war for us. Huge bonus. And governing ethics attraction means it's not going to be hard to convince them to go imperialist like us. These are a couple of negatives. Real shame. The big thing that we have now is we have lizards that can live on a tropical world, and what are these, plant dudes or something? Avians? That can live on a savanna world. We've just doubled the type of worlds that our empire is now comfortable living on. That's huge. Now, if you click this here, you're going to notice, obviously we've got some serious problems. We destroyed their whole world. We created a shelter here and installed a governor, but I mean, no one's happy. They're not producing anything. That makes sense because it was a Bronze Age civilization that just got conquered by a faster than light civilization. And that's just gonna last for like 10 years. There's really not much we can do about it. That's just our lives.
Anomaly found.
So one of the core game mechanics here that we're supposed to be doing is spreading the borders of our empire. So let's just get at it.
Star system charted.
I'm gonna build another mining district. Oh, so we research our first technology. I'm going to recommend that when you're playing this game, try to figure out what kind of path you want to go with technology. I'm going to take the blue laser just because it's the next logical upgrade for our Corvettes right now.
Savage hordes touching down.
Populace is rebelling. Just gives you enough strength and control over your empire that for your first playthrough, to get your feet wet, you don't have to worry too much about riots and stuff like that. So, who the heck do they think they are? I mean, it's fair. I did conquer their entire world. But they are, wow. So we're gonna have to go reclaim this. I mean, obviously they don't stand a chance, but we mistakenly gave them all of our technology. So, we're gonna have to go win this planet back. Let's find out what we need to do it. Oh, it won't let us see. That's fine. They took the starbase and everything, so the starbase's power is probably similar to what this one is. No, it's probably a little bit less. We're actually going to need to go to war with these guys. That's interesting. Didn't expect that to happen. A-holes. Alright, well, let's build ourselves a couple of Corvettes. And we're
Construction complete.
a few armies. At least they made it fun.
Star system charted. Anomaly found.
I gotta tell you, I really didn't expect that to happen. Guess we're gonna send these guys in. They've actually closed borders with us, so for whatever reason, whatever technical game reason they've come up with, you can't enter an empire's territory if they've closed borders with you. So let's talk to them. Hi. Remember us? We're back. So we're going to demand tribute. If we demand tribute and we win the war, they will be, this empire that they've created here will be our vassal. We'll own them, basically. I guess they won't be our vassal. That would be vassalization. They'll be our tributary. The benefit is that as a vassal, they get benefits from us. As a tributary, they just pay us money. And then we don't have to worry about all that nonsense. And we can just conquer them later if we want to. So let's do this. Oh, surprisingly, they said no thank you. So we're going to declare war. Now in the declare war screen, this is where you're deciding what you want the outcome of the war to be. And honestly, do we want to claim them, conquer them? Or do we want to make them a tributary? I kind of want to make them a tributary, but I really want to have those bird guys available to us so we can resettle them as our own population. So let's just conquer them.
We have declared war to safeguard our interests.
Let's get in there. So you always want to send the Navy in first. The reason you're sending the Navy in first is because if your soldiers get in combat with the space station, they're just gonna get
Technology secured.
So we're hoping our Corvettes can kill this space station. This number isn't necessarily a one-to-one relation on what the actual strength is. It's just more of a ballpark. It's possible to build fleets that completely counter other fleets that are bigger. If someone's got a fleet of things that only shoot missiles, but you have point defense drones, for example. Let's not waste too much time on research here. I'm just going to grab this one. Looks like we're going to be in good shape to win this. We can crank up the speed a little bit. Oh yeah, now y'all are in trouble. This is like Independence Day, except we're the aliens. Cool. We won, right?
Anomaly found.
So before we end this war, let's just take a look at the war meter down here. This is a little thing that'll pop up anytime you're at war. The percentage shows how close you are to your victory, I suppose. How close you are to victory is determined by a couple of things. The number one thing is how they feel about the war. The more damage you deal to them, the more battles you win, the more planets you take, the more exhausted they're going to get with the war. If you reach 100% exhaustion for too long, they can force peace on you. So try and keep an eye on that meter. Now let's take a look, check out their armies. They have a non-zero number of armies. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And our transport fleet is only a strength of 109. So, you know what we need to do, right? We're going to have to bomb them from orbit. And we're going to switch this from passive, other thing. We're going to switch this from selective to indiscriminate. They're just going to bomb the hell out of them.
Star system charted.
So how does this benefit us? Well, you can see that the health of these armies is going down, right? Once the health is down on enough armies that we feel like we got a fighting chance down on the ground, we can send our armies. Let's get our transport fleet over in orbit here, though, just ready to go. These guys don't stand a chance at this point. So I got two different fleets of the same type here, and it really doesn't make much sense for me to send them in separately. So let's just merge them together using this button here. Now I have a army strength of 168. We'll just enter orbit. Same deal with these two guys. Two fleets of the same type. Just merge them together. Now get back to bombing, boys. Take a look at the armies. Well, we're getting there. Right-click the planet. We're gonna land our armies. And
Planetary invasion commenced.
Oh, it looks like I like our odds.
Ground invasion force has seized a planet.
We're back, baby. This is our planet now. So let's check the war exhaustion meter. Okay, so because we've achieved all of our goals, it's basically taken the fight right out of them. And we've occupied their entire quote-unquote empire, even though there's a Bronze Age civilization that stole a bunch of our weapons. So we're just going to click Achieve War Goals. If you surrender, then they will have succeeded in their war goals. Status Quo will give us the same stuff that we were trying to get, but clicking Achieve War Goals is much more fulfilling. Settling status quo basically means let's just call it a draw right now. Everything everybody has currently, they get to keep, and we'll go to peace. Now, if we were fighting an empire that had 5 or 6 systems and we had conquered all 5 or 6, just clicking this doesn't necessarily mean that we get to keep the system itself. We'd have to make a claim on it, which we can go on over later. Let's just achieve war goals for now, get our system back. So, obviously they're unhappy. we did just reconquer their planet. Now, fool me once, right? They're just probably going to rebel again. They've done it in the past.
Construction
So
complete.
let's take this. We're going to replace this with a stronghold. Strongholds basically have soldiers in them that will keep the order. And we're going to land these troops. And we're going to use this to build another construction ship. Now that we're in expansion mode, we're going to need to be doing a
Construction complete. Construction complete.
Alright, this guy's done before he takes off.
Technology secured. Star system charted.
I guess we don't have the minerals to build any of these stations, so let's just get them to work. So at this point moving forward, what you're going to be working on is expanding the borders of your empire, increasing your technology, getting more pops. You want to be doing researching, and inevitably you're going to start coming in contact with other empires who are either going to be friendly or not quite as friendly. So this is going to wrap it up for the early game. If you have any questions moving forward for the rest of the game, and I'm sure you will, just let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them. You can tell whether or not your ship is in orbit around a planet reducing its upkeep by looking at the icon here. If it looks like it's a ship orbiting a something, that means it's in orbit. This science ship here is doing absolutely nothing, so let's get him back to work.
Construction complete.